Welcome to Share Views with Stefano Balbaglio, who's Director at Cassiopeia Services, and with Michael Masterman, who's was giving us two for the price of one. He's the Chairman of W Resources and also the CEO of a new company on the London market, Saffron Energy. How are you today, Michael?
I'm very good, Zach, and very pleased to be IPOing Saffron
Right,
today.
Right. Okay, so it's today. Why here? Why now?
Look, these are a very good gas production field based in Italy. The London market is by far and away the best market to have these kind of assets in a listed vehicle. Some of them have been previously held in an Australian listed company, Po Valley Energy. We think by bringing them to the market and bringing them to the market with very substantial production growth, we're going to get a very good reception.
Right, and just to give us an idea of the size of the project, I mean, it's well, the market cap is going to be 10 million of Saffron. You raised 2.5 million. But is it a big project, small project? I mean, that's, sometimes, you see there's a new company there and there's like, there's 3 cubic meters of gas coming out every day, or it's all rather disappointing. What kind of project is this?
Well, it's got 3 gas fields, Solaro, which is in production, Bezzecca, which will start shortly after the IPO in March, and a 3rd gas field that will come into production in the back end of 2017. So 3 gas fields. Total invested capital of the order of 20 million euros to date. High margins. If you're going to produce gas in anywhere in the world, Italy is probably one of the best places. Operating costs are incredibly low, fully automated plants, pure methane, so it literally comes into the Italian national grid with very little processing, and that results in very high margins. So of the order of 8.6 BCF, which is a decent starting base of gas production. And I think uniquely for the AIM and uniquely for markets, this is gas production, this is cash flow, and this is earnings. And one of the key things we're going to try and do over the next 2 to 3 years is make sure those earnings get back to shareholders in the form of dividends and other shareholder returns.
So it was quite a coup for you to get this this collection of fields then, basically?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, the most important thing is the regulatory approvals to actually put all 3 in production are well behind us. So we've got a clean line of sight on almost immediately putting the 2nd field in production in March, and a pretty clear run to getting the 2nd field. So
it's not a jam tomorrow type project where they're waiting 3 years and 2 years for this to happen and that to happen. You're hitting the ground running at the same time as the IPO, basically.
Yeah, well, for Bezzecca, which will generate the bulk of the cash flows in 2017, we've built a 7-kilometre pipeline. We've prepped the well for startup. We've got all the things necessary to start that field. And it's not many IPOs where shortly after listing, you actually get first cash flows in such a short period of time.
So Michael, it looks like you have got quite a strong work program. Would you like to explain a little bit more about your plan to increase production?
Okay, so we've currently got 1 production field, Solaro, running. Bezzecca starts almost immediately after the IPO. 2nd gas field, Sant'Alberto, coming in the back end of 2017. And then going into 2018 and 2019, we have some very clear actions we can take to further increase production. We're looking in the Competent Persons Report at increasing production rates from about 1.5 million cubic feet a day to 4 million cubic feet a day in a 3-year period. That's all very achievable based on the assets we have. We have an exceptional team based in Italy. XE&I, very experienced at moving through the regulatory frameworks, very experienced in actually successfully putting fields into production. And that team will make sure not only do the fields we've got in the portfolio run into production as soon as possible, but that we add further production and cash flow to the portfolio over time.
And what's the atmosphere in the gas market, if that's not a pun? Where are we in the cycle?
Look, with oil going up from, what was it, 25 in this time in 16 to 50, 54, you've also seen that the gas pricing rise very strongly. It's gone from 14 cents per cubic metre to nearly 21, 22 euro cents per cubic metre, so it's a very strong growth in prices. all of that price increase comes back to us on the bottom line in terms of earnings. And Italy is probably by far and away the best country in Europe to actually be producing and selling gas,
as opposed to being in the banking sector. Looking at the company and looking at the atmosphere, I mean, you've got 10. It's a small cap company. How do you see the London small cap area at the moment? I mean, we've had years of the doldrums and everything else. Do you think that we're in a better time now that Trump is in the White House? Is it a more optimistic time, at least business-wise?
I sense there is. I think, for example, on our capital raising, we were very significantly oversubscribed. There was more demand than the £2.5 million raising that we've successfully completed. I think there's going to be a lot of interest in this particular listing to actually have an AIM company with hard assets, actual gas production, and a lot of gas production and cash flow growth is quite unique. And we're seeing a lot of excitement about this IPO. Chance
of paying a dividend at some point?
I'd love to pay a dividend.
That would be really unusual for AIM, wouldn't it?
I would love to pay a dividend.
I mean, and like for people who invest now, I mean, is it a 1 year view, 3 year view? What kind of time frame? What are your milestones?
Well, there's a lot of news flow and a lot of milestones in the next 9 months, and there's a lot of gas flow and cash flow growth over the next 3 years. I think you'll see us deliver on what we've said we'd deliver, and if all we did was focused on that, that would be an exceptional return to shareholders. But I think you've got the management team with the technical and commercial experience and linkages to really grow this into a substantial company.
So Michael, with Saffron, you are starting with 3 assets in Italy. What are your plans going forward? Are you looking to expanding the business outside? Would you be looking at any acquisition? Or
look, we've got lots to do in terms of what we've IPO'd today, but we can see ways in which, particularly in this market, where we can add really good, high-margin gas production and cash flow to the portfolio. We'll be very disciplined in terms of how we do that. The focus is on gas production and cash flow, not on exploration. We're not going to take all the cash flow and blow it in a exploration well. But I think with the right management discipline, we can generate a lot of cash flow and profits for the shareholders and consistently expand the company and its outlook.
Michael, you were producing this gas, which is the new part of this, or the exciting part of the whole venture. Who's going to buy it?
We've got a small little company called Shell PLC, who we have a great offtake contract with. And the gas literally comes out of the gas field into the Italian national grid, and Shell immediately take the offtake and distribute it to their customers. So that contract with Shell is fantastic.
Right, and that's in place for a number of years, or is
that's in place. We've had a very good relationship with Shell for I think 3 or 4 years, and the contract continues.
Michael Masterman, CEO at Saffron Energy. Congratulations on the IPO.
Thank you, Zach.